Quantum healing, the future of medicine.
So the sense of hopelessness sets in, especially in the case of any kind of domestic or home abuse going on, whether physical, emotional, mental, any of those things. It's relentless. It's daily. So you never get a sense of recovering. Once that box has been blown up and you've got all these little shattered pieces everywhere. Now, how do you bring it together when, tomorrow you're going to be subjected to similar experiences and you're going to have to go through this again? So there it becomes a huge, big problem. The first step is disempowerment. However, it doesn't stop there. As the cycle gets deeper and deeper, the next stage that happens is the mental embodiment of victimization. And therein is where the mental people are working. They do understand this, that your belief systems change. Your whole belief system changed because you don't know who you are. You're trying to pick up the pieces. You've lost your confidence. You're feeling hopeless. You feel like, and the more therapists you try to talk to, let me tell you, the more hopeless you become because you realize they don't know how to help you. So this situation gets worse. Some therapy does help and calm, but it's still all in there by the end of whatever session. I always felt that, we're making some progress, a little bit of progress in some areas of balance, but it's still there. I want it gone. I want it out. How do you get it out? And it is definitely not by talking. But again, I will emphasize that talk therapies, group talk therapies, whatever you need to do, that is the next step. And you should try and partake in as much of that as possible, but do not go on for years and years. Very unethical. Psychotherapists will keep patients going endlessly for years and years, and a lot of these people end up committing suicide because they have tried to go the way of what mainstream medicine has told them is going to fix the problem. You have this problem, we identify it, you have post-traumatic stress disorder, you have ADHD, you have ADHD, and it goes on, all the different disorders, and they'll diagnose them, and then they'll offer you a drug for them, and the situation's getting worse and worse, and you very within time realize that none of this is helping, and none of this is making it better. What else is there? And we haven't had what else is in there in general. That is the tragedy of this. This is easily solvable. This is not a difficult thing to circumvent. It really is not. It's very simple if you know about metaphysics. You have to go there for this condition. So the hopelessness turns into, if a psychotherapist is holding on to that patient forever, actually reducing them more and more of hopelessness to the point where a lot of them will just say, this is not helping, this is not going anywhere, and I can't stand this, and I'm taking myself out. I've had many people come to me that have been in therapy, 8 years, 14 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I will say to some of them, was it helping at a certain point? They said, no, it wasn't. So I said, well, did you express that to the therapist? I expressed it, and they said, no, let's just keep going. You'll see it's going to help. I'm sorry, but in my books, that's an unethical therapist, and these people need to be weeded out. That's my opinion of it. So the belief system assumes the status now as a victim. You now see yourself as a victim, which you are. So people talk about you're a victim or you're a survivor. I think in terms of thriver. I much prefer that one. But when you're in the system that we have created here to help with this problem, the best you can be at some point is being a survivor. And that is tough enough, by the way, if you've been involved in childhood trauma where that is going on and on and on a daily basis, and you are trying so hard just to survive and get through that. The mind starts to see itself as a victim. So there is a great shift of perception of yourself to the world. Before, you walked with confidence. You knew who your box was. You knew who you were. You knew who your family was, friends were. You went to school. You had your little box. And in that, you were starting to gain your confidence. But that all got all smashed up. So now you're in this never land of, who am I? And I'm not liking who I am. And I feel hopeless about who I am. And I feel unempowered in the world. I don't feel confident anymore because I don't know who I am. So now you begin to believe that. Over time, you will plug into that and believe now that you are a victim, which you are, but you're trying to claw your way into survivor. And a lot of people, I would say most people, congratulate themselves on becoming a survivor, which you should. But where we're going in the future, when we're dealing with the quantum and we're dealing with higher frequencies, being a survivor is not enough. We want to bring you back to thriving. We want you even better than when you were first born. Because even when you were first born, you came in with past life traumas, and a lot of those have settled into the DNA. And if that was not rectified or healed in past lives, you're now carrying a lot of that into this life. So when you go through this therapy and it's releasing it out of everything in your body, it's releasing all that negative emotions, or sort of melting them out, and you're releasing them out of your body. It also involves releasing any traumas in the DNA. So in essence, you come out cleaner than when you were actually born in a lot of cases. Not all cases, but a lot of cases. So again, it doesn't stop at the mental embodiment of victimization. It will keep going. The process and the cycle gets deeper. How does it get deeper? Well, now there begins to be a somatic embodiment of victimization, meaning body tissues begin to adapt to the belief system and perceptions. Experiences and history are embodied. So now you bring it in, it's settling into the cells and into the DNA. Soma becomes armored. You begin to develop tremendous fear against trauma and all things that can hurt you. You have learned firsthand really what fear is all about when your life is threatened in these kinds of traumas. So you become very armored and dense. There's a heaviness where you put this protection so deeply around your body so that you can't actually process any more negative emotions. And there's different diagnoses to this on how the body responds. We're all different. We don't respond exactly the same, but you definitely become much more armored, and you kind of do not allow people into your world very easily, and you're becoming more isolated as a result of that too. And it is now settling into the cells of your body, which often, if it's not getting enough energy and you've got more and more blockages, these things very easily develop, especially into cancers. I can't tell you how many cancer patients I've worked on where it's got to that point that they are now developed a good dose of cancer, and under physician's care, but also understanding where the energy blockages are, will come to someone like myself, a metaphysician, to also release the body and melt away all those negative emotions, which is easily done with this technique. And so clearing out, bringing more quantum energy into the body, which is then more energy being fed into the neurological system in every single cell of the body. So you're just getting this boost of energy. And cancer doesn't do very well in boosts of energy of light. It thrives in the dark, and it thrives in low energy. So fortunately, where I was living when I was treating for over a decade, people were understanding this, that you needed both treatments. And that's the best way to do any illness that you're having, any disease that you're experiencing. You should apply body, mind, spirit to it. Yes, there's the physician that can diagnose it, and now we know it's cancer. You also need some talk therapy on that. You need to assimilate with that. What is this exactly that I've got? How did this come about? And hopefully, if you've got a mental therapist that's actually really gone to the next step and actually developed knowledge of metaphysics, we'll be able to help you with that and put it in reality and say, we're going to do some treatments to balance out the mind here and give you an understanding of what's going on inside you. But just know that there's a step afterwards again, which is the metaphysical solution to actually dissolve all these traumatic negative emotion blockages that are sitting in the meridian lines. It's very simple, very easy, but because we're missing this huge chunk of knowledge, these other things are not working. body mind is very limited on how well it works. Sorry to say that, but we can see evidence of that everywhere. Body mind is good, but body mind doesn't really shift anything until you're introducing metaphysics into it and you're introducing metaphysicians into it. People that know how to work with metaphysics. It's a whole different realm of study and research and an understanding of energetic techniques that can be used.